Creating an invoice in QuickBooks Online is a pretty straightforward workflow, but it's something where it's worth having a slightly deeper understanding of what's happening behind the scenes. So today we're going to walk through it together. I'm going to show you how to create an invoice, what fields on the form are really important to pay attention to, and finally how it all ties back to our reports. Let's go ahead and get started. So in order to create an invoice, we're going to go up to the plus create button up in the upper left-hand corner, and then we're going to select invoice under customers. Okay. Now, while that is the way to navigate to it from the home dashboard, there are a couple of other ways to get here, and I'm going to show you that as well. So I'll close this for the time being, and we'll get back into this screen in just a moment. If I wanted to, I could also go here to customers. And then once I was in the customer section, I could select customers and leads. And from here, I have the option to create invoices for any particular customer. Additionally, if I were to click into a particular customer profile, I would have the option to create a new invoice from this side navigation menu as well. So let's go ahead and say that I am creating a new invoice for Amanda Reyes. If I click on it right here, this is actually going to look a little bit different than it did when I first pulled it up on the screen. It's going to automatically fill in some of the information for the client. So instead of having all blank fields here like I did before, I actually have a bit of information about my client already in this screen, including their default terms and things like that, okay? What you can do, let's say you didn't want to do an invoice for Amanda Reyes, you wanted to do an invoice for something else, someone else, no problem. You can select from the drop-down menu, or you can see you actually can add a new customer right here. So we'll go ahead and select another customer just for the sake of the example here. And you can see it automatically filled in their information. So that is perfect and exactly what we would want to see, okay? Now, when it comes to all of this, we do want to do a certain amount of trust but verify. There are some defaults that come in QuickBooks, and if we want those to be applied across the board, great, but if we have specific items for specific customers, we may want to double check things. So for example, the default terms in this set of books is net 30, okay? But let's say that I didn't want Devin Patel to be on net 30 terms. I want them to have net 10. Okay, so I can change that from the drop-down menu and everything will automatically shift accordingly. But that's a key thing to keep an eye on. You don't want to send an invoice out to a customer with incorrect terms on it. So from here, we're going to want to enter whatever it is we're invoicing the customer for, okay? And that can be any number of things. We can add products or services to this. Now, I will be doing a video on creating products and services at a later time, but I basically just want to call your attention to this fact right now. We have products and services set up, and those map to our income accounts and to other accounts automatically, right? So we want to be sure that our products and services are set up correctly so that when we are entering information on invoices, we aren't rinsing and repeating errors. But since everything is set up, we're just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to enter monthly bookkeeping. And you'll see here, I don't have a rate associated with monthly bookkeeping. And that's because there might be multiple terms of service, or multiple tiers of service rather, that I offer for bookkeeping. So let's say that he was in my mid-tier offering, which is $1,500 a month, okay? So I enter that in and we can see it automatically calculates out from there. On top of that, let's go ahead and say that he decided to purchase one of my books. Okay. And again, we have the rate for that. That's already in there by default. So that's great. We'll go ahead and leave that as it is. Now, why is it really important that we enter products on invoices or sales receipts when we sell them? Well, we want QuickBooks to automatically go ahead and update our quantities on hand so that we have accurate inventory and so that we have accurate cost of goods sold. Okay, so it is very important if people are buying products from us and we are using QuickBooks to track that inventory, that we are entering those items on the invoices as they are sold. Okay, so we have those two items in. That's great. If this is all we're adding to our invoice, we can absolutely stop right here and be done, okay? This could be a complete invoice that we are sending out to somebody. So that's great. If this is everything, we can go ahead and say either just save or review and send, okay? Now, since these are all fake emails that I have in here, I'm not going to send it, but I am going to save it. I will, however, show you. You can toggle back and forth at the top of this invoice here to see how it looks when it's going out into the world. So I could see the email view, which is what the client would see when they went in and clicked on this invoice once it was emailed to them. I can also see their view once they click to pay for it. And finally, the PDF view of the invoice, which is what they're going to see if they click on the download invoice button on that email. So this is what we're seeing, and we can, of course, edit and manage this. I do have a separate video for this, and that will be linked here. So once I am happy with how the invoice looks and the information that is on it, I can go ahead and save it. Now, what happens when we create an invoice in QuickBooks? Well, basically, we are saying that the customer is going to be paying us for that at a later date, which means we are creating accounts receivable. So if I go into my reports, and then we'll just go to standard reports for right now, there are a few different places that I can now view this information. So I could either go to the balance sheet, and as long as it was run through today's date, I would see that I have this amount, that $1,519, sitting in accounts receivable, which is exactly what I would expect. Additionally, we can look at some other reports. There are specific reports for who owes us, and they are conveniently labeled who owes you in QuickBooks Online. So the one that I end up looking at the most myself in my business is my accounts receivable aging summary. So this breaks it down in a very straightforward manner. It's going to show us what every single client of ours owes us and what aging period that particular invoice falls into, okay? So the only thing that I currently have outstanding in this training file is that invoice that I just created for $1,519. And that makes perfect sense. That's the only thing that is there. But if I had additional items, either for the same client or for multiple clients, those would be listed here and I could see how long they had been sitting on my books. Okay, this is a phenomenal report to use if you want to start collecting past due amounts. Okay, if I had anything in the 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 90 and over, I would be checking in with those people to see if they planned on sending remittance for that, or if they had already sent remittance for that and it had been lost in the mail somehow, or something had gone wrong, okay? So this report is a fantastic tool to see what people owe you and how long they have owed it to you. So that is how we create an invoice in QuickBooks Online. It's a very straightforward process, but again, there is actually a lot of detail that goes into it and making sure that when we enter something, which you can see, entering those items took only a few minutes, but we want to make sure that our mapping on the back end is correct and set up so that our reports will be accurate. One last thing that we can look at to see how that income actually flows through is if we go back to our standard reports and look at profit and loss. Now we'll want to make sure that we are on accrual method because again, accrual method accounting captures our income and expenses at the time they are incurred, regardless of when cash actually changes hands. So if I'm looking at my reports on an accrual method basis, I'm actually going to see that bookkeeping services income if I click in here. So what I would expect to see, and I do, sure enough, is here on 3/24, I have an invoice for $1,500 for bookkeeping services for Devin Patel, okay? So that is there. It's currently showing up in my income bucket on my profit and loss. Now watch what happens if I toggle this to cash method. The report reloads and that $1,500 is gone from the bottom of this particular report. And that is quite simply because on cash basis, I am only recognizing income and expenses where the cash has actually changed hands. I am not recording anything where I have sent an invoice and am waiting for payment or where I have entered a bill and have not yet paid it. So that's the long and short of entering an invoice in QuickBooks and how it impacts your reports. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Holly from Accrual Mistress Bookkeeping and Consulting. If you found this helpful, please do like and subscribe, and feel free to leave any questions in the comments section below.